Like that's truly how you got to look at it. Like it's not weakness. It's you don't even know what you're capable of. Imagine if somebody said that to you and you were slaying life and somebody was like, you're very impressive, but I bet you had no idea what else you have inside of you. Most of us, like you said, if you have humility, you will forever remember the moment you learned how to train. I've told my story. I mean, it's so awesome. You look back and I'm like, I could tell you where the gym that I learned to train at doesn't exist anymore. And I learned on an extension of all things. I was like, oh, today we learned what training is. Before that, I was working out.
Hey everybody, welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. I'm one of your hosts, Big Ron Partlow. We got Dusty Hanshaw and Scott, the producer, McNally. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Yes, exactly. Make sure you do those things. It helps out the algorithm, which then helps us out, because nothing makes us feel better than that little number going up and up and up and up that we base our whole lives around.
Yeah, pretty much. I do. I really do.
Yeah. Whether I'm a success or a complete and utter failure every week is based on that number. And, my mood around the house, everything. It's just all completely dictated by that number of how many clicks we've got. So help us out. Yes. There we go. And what else we got? Oh, yeah. IamMutant.com. Remember, IamMutant.com. Born hardcore. Go to IamMutant.com and get your ISO search, get your all in, and everybody should get on the gear. Where have you been? Are you living under a rock? Get on the gear.
What's the best flavored gear, Ron?
I'm a tropical punch guy. I still like fruit punch. I know that's like generic for some people, but fruit punch is good. What's wrong with fruit punch?
There's nothing wrong with fruit punch. There's also nothing wrong with sandwiches. Rocket Pop.
There you go. It's Rocket Pop. There you go. And and of course, I got a shameless plug. Thank you to everyone that's gone to westcoastirononline.com and purchased our swag. We've been selling shirts all week and hoodies all week on the website, and it's been awesome. And some of you guys ordering from like the UK and Australia, and hoodies have been going out all over the States and stuff. It's been really cool. So thank you very much. And remember, Dusty 20, Big Ron 20 for Mutant. Get your 20% off. It's not just go there and buy stuff. It's get a deal. Okay. What's the first topic, gentlemen? What do we got first?
Well, before we get into anything, this is going to be real quick. We got a little bit of housekeeping to do. We can make this real fast.
A little bit of vacuuming.
Yes. From the last episode, so New York Pro was 1 point. It was just a 1 point difference between Nick and Martin.
Didn't I look up the score sheets in it?
We looked at it and you had said, oh yeah, it was a straight seconds, straight first, straight seconds.
I read it wrong?
That's weird. Yeah, there was like a big deal.
Correctly, but it's because I think they only had 3 main judges, because usually like 5 would be first place, 10 would be second.
It was a weird number.
But it was like 3 and 4, which I think is what threw it off for you.
Yeah. So regardless, we just wanted to bring that up because we had like several people that say, "Oh no, it was actually really close." So, and you could see from the pictures too, it looked like it was really close, right? So
yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
So that was number 1. Number 2, dry scooping. Man, I can't believe how many people got heated about dry scooping. Like it or dislike it. Is it overrated or underrated? Did you guys see all those comments we got?
Yeah. And I want you guys to understand that everyone has an opinion, and you're all right unless you're dry scooping, then you're dumb.
That's Derek Lunsford. Somebody said in the comments, Derek Lunsford does dry scooping.
Okay, that does not change my answer. So,
I have one
great
fact.
Bodybuilders are often dumb.
I'm very willing to go out. I'm very willing to say that the fact that Lunsford dry scoops probably has nothing to do with his physique.
You might be right about that.
I don't know though, because I don't dry scoop and I don't look anything like him.
Maybe that's a missing ingredient, huh?
Shit. Had I just known to dry scoop, I could have been up there. My waist would have not been 72 inches. Well.
We did have somebody say like, well, you dry scoop it and then you take a drink of water after. So because where people were like, well, you need the water, So it sounds, and I'm just trying to understand.
Is dumb too. There's nothing magic about it. You got plenty of water in your body. I just don't know why you would put powder directly in your mouth. That's all.
Do you squirt the Kool-Aid in your mouth and then take a sip and swish it around and swallow it?
I don't know.
Kool-Aid in your drink and then enjoy a nice cold glass of Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah. Especially with our flavors. Like,
that's a good
our
point.
pre's are delicious.
Yeah.
Maybe what you're doing is you're dodging. That's probably what it is his sponsor's pre-workout tastes like ass. So he's just trying to rush it down. Well, it looks like you're using the wrong ones. IamMutant.com. Mix it with water. Enjoy, kids.
It's not medicine. It should be fun.
Yes.
There we go.
So that was it. That was it. And I know you've got a topic, Ron, that we're going to start out with. And then we had a bunch of training stuff. These guys left a bunch of questions. And I want to say really quick, too, guys, leave us questions for the next show. You guys are freaking awesome for that. And all your comments, as Ron said, that stuff helps to boost our show. We much appreciate it.
Okay. Here's the topic sent in by a listener. This might be triggering. Might be a little triggering for some people. Is how often is too often to be posting progress pictures to Instagram? I feel like people are putting up shots every week or even multiple times a week, and I can't even tell a difference from picture to picture. Should you be waiting until there's significant change before you put up another shot? Just throwing that out there.
Just
I feel like I'm about to dodge plates.
You know, I think what's funny for me, because I see the same thing, is it should be really obvious that there's progress. You know what I mean? Like I should, especially when they put them side by side, there's times where I'm literally like, and I feel like I have a relatively experienced eye. And I'm looking through and I'm like, I don't know which one is new. And that's a problem. You know, like when people do it backwards and they're like, you know, they do progress picture before and after, but they write it after and before. Hey,
get the left and right
even though I'm yelling at them for getting them wrong, at least I know so I can yell at them.
Yeah.
You people put it so often, I don't even know if you have it right or wrong. It's really a problem for me. So, and it's something I think you got to cover too with clients, because obviously I do check-ins every 5 days. And I remind my clients, this isn't 100% about seeing forward progress in 5 days. This is so we're communicating, so we're kind of looking, so I'm making sure that you're staying on your plan, you know, those types of things.
Don't see anything weird.
Yeah. And just unless you're in prep and we're within, 8 weeks, I'm probably not seeing any difference. You're not probably supposed to have any difference. And if you do, that's probably the reason I want them, is I'm like, oh, crap, something's wrong. There's a huge difference. So, but as far as posting them, I agree. And I think you're not really seeing, that's probably why you don't see a lot of interaction, because only your friends that are not your friends, ladies, I'm talking to you, those girls that go, I'm obsessed with you. You're so amazing. You said that about 7 other girls. And then when you all got together in a group, you talk shit about her. Stop it. Just be honest. Like, if I post a picture, Ron would be like, waist looks a little wide, wider than usual. Then I know he's telling the truth, Or
I just don't comment.
Yeah. I don't comment. I mean, for a prime example, with people who I actually know well, I rarely comment. I've never commented, maybe twice in 3 years on Nikki's pictures. Like, I saw it, babe. That's it.
I feel funny commenting on Emily's pictures. I'm like, I live with her. I shouldn't communicate her publicly through Instagram for other people to read. Like, now we're going. I'll like the photo, but I rarely comment, because it just seems like it's a staged, projectional comment for others to read.
Mm-hmm. That's like the I love you posts. Yeah, same thing. I'm like, just text her. Tell your wife at home.
Let me get a little clarity from you guys. So is there a difference then between posting it like on your wall, your main page, versus a story? Maybe every week you post your progress on a story.
But I see, like, there's stuff I'll put on my story that I won't post to my page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, for example, the tricks I do on my bike. I won't post something to my page unless it's new.
Yes.
But a story can just be like me having fun last night, pulling tricks I've already pulled a bunch of times that you probably already saw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I back that.
Okay. That's sort of how I see that. But for something to go on the page, it's got to kind of be news.
Yeah. Okay.
In a way.
The only problem with that theory is then I would never post anything
Right.
Because nothing in my life is news anymore. And in fact, any of the videos I put up now, they could be written, not as good as I once was. In fact, not even close.
Oh,
That's why most of my main page is collaborated reels with Mutant and the gym, because I don't really feel like I have much news anymore.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of news. I think I'm just reminding people I haven't died. They're like, I'm still here. I know.
He's still here. All right.
Last time I disappeared for a while, I was, dead.
But you guys do a lot of traveling and stuff. There'll be like cool pictures where you're like, hey, I'm with, Sean Clarita at this cool gym in the UK.
Yeah.
Stuff
those
like
are
that.
fun.
Yeah,
the traveling ones are fun. But
remember
teach their own.
You have to factor in the sort of like jadedness too of maybe me and Dusty have a certain level of jadedness and sort of a little bit worn out on things being interesting and news. And I think most of our listeners know that, and they factor that into any advice that we give regarding posting or anything like that.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying don't listen to you guys 100%
at all.
Not 100%
at all. Think about what we just said. Don't post progress pictures every week. Then you'll see me row 7 days from today again with one more rep. And you'll be like, you just did the same thing. It's just not a progress picture. My whole page is rowing and squatting. There's 900,000 of them. I'm bored of my Instagram.
Right.
This is all becoming more clear. Okay.
But it's constant motivation, Dusty. It's constant motivation. So
I'm motivating people to be more creative than me.
Here's the question that I'm sure someone is about to ask us. Off season, you don't need to post progress pictures that often because there's no real change.
True that.
But as you get closer to the show, does the frequency of acceptable posting go up? I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
To what degree, though? Every couple
I think
days?
If you're explaining your pictures and not like two things real quick before I finish that sentence because I caught myself. I hate when people post, I'm a little flat, I'm not Phil Heath, blah, 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 and then here's my picture. Knock that off. You're proud. That's why you're posting it. You should be proud. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care if it's your first show or you're going to win the Olympia. Like, just post it. Like, don't excuse or explain your post. You don't have to. It's your page. So put it up. I hate that part, but I do think it could be valuable if somebody actually knows what they're doing to say, so here's what we're at this week. 4 days ago, we went 4 low, and here's the output. In my eyes, I'm drier and tighter, so I'm going to run lower again for a couple more days. That's fun to me as like an educational side, because watching like Ron and Nikki's prep at home, it was fun because I know what's happening. But I was like, man, if I didn't know, this would be actually pretty wild. Like, why was there no change? Why was there change? What's Ron seeing? What's Scott seeing? So I think that information could make it fun, even if you're doing pictures every 3 or 4 days, because it explains what the next move is,
Right. Okay.
We get excited. There's that too. Because I remember doing it. I remember maybe not posting as much, but like I'd have a couple friends. It's like by the end, I'm doing check-in pictures or progress pictures every day. And like 2 of my friends were getting those pictures every day. Here's where I'm at today. And I realized at a certain point, I'm like, there's really no difference. They really don't care. Send.
Send it anyway. I love that you sent it anyways, my man. And I liked all those pictures you sent me. Oh wait,
and also too, just one more reminder. Yeah, I know it's hard. It's right at your fingertips. It's right there. It's like a tasty chocolate treat that you just. But don't filter your pics.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to create an expectation that you aren't going to live up to.
Yeah. Or Goob is going to find out. He's going to call you out. One of the two.
Don't touch your pics. I would rather think you looked pretty good on Instagram and amazing on stage than think you looked amazing on Instagram and wonder why you look pretty good on stage.
Yeah,
true.
I would much rather that for you.
What's the problem with dick pics? Oh wait, did I say that out loud?
Yeah. That's not editing. That's angles.
Yeah,
and that's totally
They're not
fine.
always going to be looking at it from that same angle, Scott.
Plus, remember, even if she's disappointed, it's too late. You got it done.
Yeah. I like to use a small shaker or a small remote.
Yeah. Why do you think they invented those miniature Diet Coke cans?
Yeah. The little 200 ml bottles.
Yeah. I cover up the measurement on it when I'm showing them. Size comparison. They're like, oh wow.
Yeah. All right, I've got an important topic, guys. This is especially important to you, Ron, since you are a gym owner. And I think it's important to everybody out there in the bodybuilding community lifting anything over 60 pounds, dumbbells. Legit question, is there a correct way to drop dumbbells? If so, do you universally ban the practice because it is too hard to enforce proper technique? And then let me see here. He says a follow-up question. Are all the 100+ pound dumbbells at Metroflex horribly bent? Is there anything at Metroflex that isn't bent?
Yeah, there's stuff that isn't bent, and I don't think all the dumbbells are bent. Some are definitely bent. I think they probably have fixed some dumbbells over the years there.
I bet they have.
One or two.
There's definitely so anyone who drops dumbbells from an unnecessary height is
an asshole.
Just stop that. Stop, because it's you're going to damage the dumbbells, you're going to bend the dumbbells, you're going to crack and rip if they have those the coated like the UMax dumbbells, those are eventually going to crack and rip. If you have the old school metal dumbbells, you're going to snap bolts and bend handles and all sorts of stuff. But I dropped 1 million dumbbells, and I wouldn't even use the term drop, because like, let's say you're doing a flat dumbbell press and you completely fail. I would bring the dumbbells down till they touch my chest, and then I would do like a half lowering sort of motion where I would resist the dumbbells at least halfway down before I let them go to the floor. So they would only be falling, that far until they kind of hit the floor on their end, or I would be able to flip them so that they landed flat. And I was doing my best to not damage the dumbbells, even if I was dropping them from a certain height. But what I see some guys do is, they'll be doing dumbbell inclines, and they'll bring the dumbbells down to the bottom, and then they'll just pitch them. And I just think, holy shit, like, you can't do that. Because, first of all, there could be someone standing there. Someone could walk in the way of that dumbbell. There's all sorts of risk that you can be taking on in a busy gym. And as a gym owner now that's had to fix and order new dumbbells, it's a huge pain in the ass. And I probably damaged some dumbbells in my day, like being an idiot with dumbbells and dropping them from too high and that sort of thing. But just really try not to do that. And I know we like watching videos where guys abuse shit, and it's always fun. And we've done some reaction videos. There's some funny videos, but at the end of the day, don't do that to your gym owners. Yeah. Try your best to not drop them from an unnecessary. I've seen guys shoulder press and just pitch dumbbells. Yeah.
How many dumbbells would you guess you've had to fix since you've owned West Coast?
Well, we just put a warranty in with UMax for several sets of dumbbells that have like cracked urethane on them. But before that, when we had the old metal dumbbells, I probably put new bolts in like 10, 12 pairs of dumbbells. And that was only in the first couple of years we were open. And I just go into the gym the odd time and be like, why is there an 80 with a snapped bolt? Like, what the hell happened to this 80-pound dumbbell?
Yeah.
So, but now we got cameras.
Just watch it back.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's what you're doing.
I do. Dusty, you don't really use a lot of dumbbells, though, do you?
No, but I mean, at this point, I always I find that when you're old and you're laying down, doing a crunch to get up is more difficult than pushing up the rep and then throwing them to my knees and having the dumbbells pick me back up to my feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just bring my knees up, bring them down, it lifts me up. But if I were to go to absolute failure, exactly what Ron talked about is what I used to do, which would be just bring it all the way down, flip it. And I actually would hold the dumbbell so it would hit the ground and my hands would kind of stay on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like you said, in a busy gym, I've seen people throw them down and bounce forward, hit the mirror, hit the,
especially with the
dumbbells
new bounce
in
floors.
front of them. Yeah, it's like, this is a mess. And I mean, also, I mean, real simple. And I'm not a gym owner. I'm not like trying to roll that, but I am in a most selfish way possible. I don't want to bend the dumbbell I need next week.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people, when you put up the post about, you know, grabbing the cables, people were like, who cares? The gym member's fault or gym owner's problem. I'm like, I care. I want the cable to function.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about Ron's wallet. I'm worried about my next workout. And if it's broken, I'm pissed off. I mean, I think you have to think of those things. I mean, you know, Ron, I was telling you when we started, as soon as I watched the video back of the true squat of me using it yesterday, Max, I was like, cool, I'm never using that again. I'm going to break it. Right, and then it won't be there. So, and it's not that important to me, you know? So it's like, you should think about that stuff as a gym member and just be like, okay, I don't want to hurt anybody. A, I don't want to hurt anybody. I also want to look stupid. And B, I don't want to break the 80-pound dumbbell that I want to use. I mean, a lot of gyms have one pair. Like,
another thing too is like, I know we all go through a phase. Like I went through a phase where I probably dropped dumbbells harder than I needed to drop for a long time. You know what I mean? But then, like, you know, I remember once seeing a video of Ramy grab the 200s. He picked the 200s off the rack. He walked like halfway down the rack to an incline bench, put them on his knees, kicked them up, did 10 reps with like a minor spot on the last couple, put them back on his knees, stood up, walked back to the rack and put them on the rack. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's badass alpha move.
Yeah,
right.
That's
there.
way more badass than throwing them from shoulder height to the ground
and throwing them. And as like an older, more mature person, seeing how Ramy handled those 200s, I was like, oh, he manhandled those 200s. He didn't just press them. He like made them look ridiculous. And I was like, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? That
is cool.
So,
I just always think that when you watch the Ronnie Coleman video when he's doing the 200 pounds on the flat bench, the most impressive part to me was that he just leaned them back.
It just rolls back with him.
Like, I'm like, that's 400 pounds. You're just like letting yourself softly fall back and then going. I'm like, listen, in a heyday, I could do a 200-pound dumbbell. Ron would hand me one. Scott would hand me one while I'm already laying down.
Or you'd put one on your knee with both hands and then the other one would be handed to you. Yeah,
but I'm not just grabbing them and leaning them back.
Yeah. I remember doing like, I think the biggest dumbbells I ever pressed were 170s. And I would put one on my knee and then the other one on the other knee, handed to me. Yeah. I could and then you roll back with them and put them up. And then when it was drop time, it was like a nice, like trying to be kind of careful and making them flip so that they would land flat.
Yeah.
You don't want dumbbells to land on their end like this. That's not good. Or at an angle like that. That's bad news. Heavy dumbbells. I've seen gyms that had like big pieces of foam. There were like big squares, like extra floor pads. Like, you know, when you see the squares on the floor in some gyms. Yeah. I've seen gyms that had like some extra ones that were real light, but real thick. Yeah. And they had them like by the dumbbell rack. And that was for people who doing heavy dumbbells. They could put one on each side of the bench.
I have that at my gym.
Yeah.
I've got like one horse stall mat. And then I've got one of the smaller pads on each side. That said, I'm with you guys. I don't drop them anymore, like ever. I remember I used to drop them. I remember one time, dropping them bad, like the hundreds. And my technique was probably crap at the time too. But looking back, I was so hardcore. And I remember rolling forward and bouncing into the dumbbell rack. Like it rolled like 3 feet, you know?
Yeah. I've seen some close calls in some busy gyms. You know, some like lady just walking by and it just like a 140-pound dumbbell just goes right past her ankle. Boom, boom. And you're just like,
there's a surgery.
There's a surgery. Yeah. And a lawsuit. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey guys, so I'm seeing that like 35% of you are not subscribed to the channel, which on one hand is great. That means that YouTube is getting us in front of new people. On the other hand, that means that we might not see each other again if you don't hit the subscribe button. We have several bodybuilding podcasts each week. We've got our reaction videos. We're doing YouTube shorts. So let me encourage you right now to subscribe and hit the bell. And if you're enjoying this show, then please hit the like button and leave us a comment. That stuff goes further than you know in the YouTube algorithm. All right. Thanks, guys.
How about this one, guys? This is from...
We done sounding like grumpy old men on that one?
Yeah.
I think it was a good... These are like good PSAs we've had so far on
Yeah.
the show. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Christopher Bryan. So this is a Patreon question. He says, do you get better gains from morning or evening workouts? Have you personally observed or read literature that makes you believe that there is a better time to hit the gym, and does it even matter? And I'm curious to know personal experiences. What have you guys seen through the years with your training times? Like, what's been best for you over the years?
I'm not convinced there's a better time that we should force ourselves to train. I haven't seen anything that convinces me of that. I think that as long as you've got enough hydration and food and your brain is in a very excited state where you're motivated, and I think it's all about how was the workout. Like simple question when you're done training, how was your workout? How was your performance? If you're like, man, I had a great workout, I had crazy pump and I was nice and strong. It's like, oh, okay, it's a good time of day for you. I think that just comes down to that. I just wouldn't want to micromanage that stuff. I traditionally trained after 2 meals. That was like a huge majority of my training was done after 2 meals. And I don't know why I gravitated towards that, but it was just how I kind of lived for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. First off, I think most people have to throw out the idea because you train when you can.
Yeah.
So
life. You have life. You have a job.
You know, that's just the way it is. But if that is the case for you and you know some information about your body, like say you know that you're groggy in the morning and you can't really get going, if it's feasible, there's this crazy idea that you could go to bed earlier and wake up earlier and give yourself time to be awake. You know what I mean? I think that's something people should think about. But I will say, like you said, Ron, when I reached a point in my life that I could choose when I trained, I was the same. It was 2 meals deep. And like I've told you guys before on the show, I always do longer gaps after my second meal. I like to train relatively empty as far as in my stomach. But I felt phenomenal in the gym. It also timed out really, really well for my professional life because I still had my own businesses. So it was like I got things out of the way in the morning that needed to be done. And then it was okay to disappear for 2.5 hours and come back to finish the night. So it was kind of both sides of that. But I mean, I've trained at 4 a.m. for part of my life when I was a trainer. I've trained at 10 p.m. part of my life. And all of the times I've trained, once they became my time, you adapt to it and you're good to go. You just got to find that special thing that you do, that routine that reminds you that it's time to go train. Like when I owned the stores and I would work 12, 13-hour days, I would come home and my feet were always swollen from being on my feet all day. And I was a little tired. I literally found that taking my shoes and socks off, putting my feet in my pool, no matter if it was hot or cold outside, for a few minutes, and then putting on fresh socks made me feel like I got rest and I could go back and train. I was like, all right, get just like a little refresher, 5 minutes, and then drink my pre and go to the gym, and I was perfectly fine. And that was when I was getting out of the gym at 12:31 a.m. So
Yeah.
I am not a night person. So the fact that I could train then and had awesome workouts tells me that the time doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that feeling of, you know, when you're sort of forced to do something you don't want to do. Like,
Yes,
I got to train it.
taxes.
Like, I got to drain it. Like, I can't believe I have to train at 9:30 tonight. Like, this is like my day went sideways, and you know, I wind up going to the gym like way later than normal, and you're super annoyed by it. But then you have like this amazing workout.
Yeah.
And you've got that crazy feeling afterwards, like, oh man, that was awesome workout. There's something about those kind of oddball, like outlier workouts that is always like a really huge, what's that, an endorphin rush afterwards again, whatever your feeling of satisfaction is based on, you know? you know, like I got it done. I had that horrible day that was like super long and I still got it done. And you just like feel like a killer. I remember a lot of those, you know, going to college, getting ready for contests and, you know, working multiple jobs and having things go sideways and you wind up getting to the gym real late. And, you know, I remember at one point I had a key to the gym. So like I got there before they closed and like the guy working was like, "Hey, see ya." And he like turned off almost all the lights and locked up. And I was the only guy in the gym. And like,
love that.
That sort of thing. Like, you know, and you get home at like, you know, 12:30 and at night and you're like, oh, fuck, I had an awesome one, you know? So that's a great feeling. It's, that's kind of a fun outlier that happens once in a while, you know?
Yeah. I feel good. Like I feel better after I train now. I'm not like, you know, absolutely destroying myself. So after I train, I feel more settled and my brain's functioning better and I feel more confident with work. And I enjoy getting up, doing what I have to do with the podcast in the morning. And then before I go into the next thing, then I do my workout. And then from there, then I come down and sit with you guys, which I, you know, got a workout in before we did this. And now it's like, I just feel good. And it's like, so I enjoy not only the workout, but the way I feel after. And then I ride that for the rest of the workday now, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't always that way. I was forced to train after work at like 4:00 for a long time. 4:00 was my time. And then I really did like the 2 meals too, Ron. It was like just enough to get, because like after one, I wasn't quite hydrated enough, didn't have like enough sodium yet, but you get those 2 meals in and then I'd start like 1 hour after meal 2 was my sweet spot. Or if I waited too long, then I feel like my stomach would get too empty and then I'd be more likely to, I go hypo real easy, even without insulin. I do. So yeah, for me it's like just 1 hour after meal 2, I'm good to go. That was like my good time. I'm still fresh. You know, I haven't done a lot of physical stuff all day. That's that would be my jam if I were getting like super serious again.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
All right. What's about this one? This is, we've got some more training stuff, but I'm going to throw one at you that's kind of sideways. If you magically had a box with everything that you have ever lost, what's the first thing that you would look for?
Oh. Oh. I was going to make a joke like my self-respect or something like that.
I was waiting for one of you. I was waiting for Dusty to say something like that. Yeah.
It's buried in shame. It's near the
I know what those are. Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I lost it or if I never had it. Yeah, you can't lose something you never had.
Yeah.
I will say that's something that I would definitely want to find that I lost long ago was actually a key fob to your vehicle, because I had no idea that the new keys are like $400 a piece.
Oh God.
And that sucks. And I'm an extra key guy. I like to have an extra at all times. And losing one of those kind of sucks. So I've had to replace one before. No.
Yeah.
Even we got the girls their cars. I'm like, yeah, if you lose a key, I'll buy it. You'll pay me back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No good.
It's that's a great question, because I actually can't think of anything that I've lost that I care that much about.
Yeah, like I've forgotten. You know what I mean? Like I think I've forgotten about a lot of that stuff.
I have another one, Ron. Do you remember the yellow Lift to Kill shirts?
Yeah.
I didn't lose it, but I wore it so much that it actually started to disintegrate. Yeah. There were holes in it that looked like they were wear holes. They were just life holes.
Yeah,
and I had to let it go. And I reached out to George, and I was like, "There's got to be one somewhere in the world." And he actually looked, because we had a lot like overseas, to see if he had one more 4X for me, and they didn't. Yeah. And I've been so frustrated my entire life since I've been with Mutant that we couldn't just reorder them. I don't ask for much. Just reorder the yellow Lift to Kill. Yeah, the material of the shirt. I mean, and it didn't matter who put it on. Big dude, smaller guy, girl. It just draped on you perfectly.
Yeah,
you hear this, Jim? I need that shirt back.
Yeah. I don't think I lost anything that I I want. I don't care too much about belongings and stuff like that.
What about that one girl? Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. There's stuff I like sold or gave away, and I'm like, it'd be kind of cool to have that still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like I had my first guitar. I actually gave my first guitar away because it was like a really cheap red Strat that I had. And I was like, I got way better guitar now. So I just gave my first guitar away. But I kind of like thought, it'd be nice to have that first guitar. And like, you know, I could have hung it up with my collection. You know what I mean? But yeah, whatever. It's all good.
All right. How about this one? So we talked about pre-exhausting the other week. Talked about like doing flies before or pack deck before getting into chest. And Jacob Harrison says, when doing a body part in your example chest, are you pre-exhausting or are you using this more as a warm-up and a stretch? I would think you would make your pressing lighter by effort. Let's see. Hold on, I gotta blow this up. It's too small. I tried to read it. Tiny text. Okay. I would think that by making your pressing lighter by effect, and other would be a stretch to open up the muscle to get loose before pressing. So he's thinking that you guys were talking about pre-exhausting as just kind of like a warm-up more or less, not actually working the muscle.
No.
Yeah. So on chest day, we usually do a few sets of crossovers. But I just do them to get my shoulders warmed up, and I don't even consider them sets. So if you ask me, like, what did you guys?
It's not a pre-exhaust.
What did you guys do? I would say, we did the Atlantis plate loaded machine, and then we did the hammer. And they'd go, well, I saw you do crossovers, and I'd go, yeah, I didn't count those.
Yeah,
But if I'm pre-exhausting that day, we'll start with a pec deck, and I'll actually do like working sets. And that's what I would do on quads. If we start with extensions, I would do working sets. And if we start with pullovers, I would do working sets. And on shoulders, I do all my laterals and rear delts before I press now. And they're all like, that's working sets. So pre-exhausting would be actual work sets, whereas just like warming up with something to make sure you've got like range of motion and stuff is different.
You got to understand, because what he was saying, we're not suggesting that you pre-exhaust like truly the way we do it and then think you're going to beat your previous numbers when you didn't pre-exhaust on your press.
Yeah, it's the whole point.
So you got to get that part out of your head, because I could tell that's what he was thinking. Like, your press is going to drop it better than you didn't push hard enough on the others. I mean, when I started doing the flies, I'll do incline dumbbell flies with 120s before I press. Because I start and just work my way up. So it's like 40s, 60s, 80s, 90s, 100s, and then do a set with like 120s and then move on. That is on purpose to ensure that when I get over to the press, 315 is all I need. Because anything beyond that, when I was doing it, caused more damage than good anyways. I wasn't getting great contraction. I was getting pain. And it's like, I found a way to knock the hell out of my chest first. And then the 315 is heavy, but it was also very functional. It didn't, although it's lighter, the workload felt the same as 405 and up, but without any pain in the shoulder, crackling, all that stuff. So kind of toss that idea, because progressive overload is not just weight. And we had a whole episode on that, Scott. You remember, it's go watch that one, because it's really important for you guys to understand. It's not just, did I move the dumbbell more times today or not?
Yeah. Yep.
You get adapted to it too, don't you? Like, I noticed that when I first started pre-fatiguing, I would go to the compound movement and I was smoked, and it was really difficult to do, but get a couple months into that and I feel like you get used to what you were doing, and that strength does kind of come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's a new type of like progression on the, if you're a log booker, it's a new type of progression. It's just like switching up. Like if you kind of hit a stalemate on your hack squat, you drop it out and throw pendulum in to start with for a while, and you build that up, and you see that build up over time. And, it also depends on the movement. Like if I do leg extensions first and then we go to leg pressing, I see less of a detriment than if we do leg extensions first and we go to pendulum, because the pendulum is a lot more quad based. and a lot more like an extension in a way.
Yeah.
You know, whereas a leg press has a lot more glutes and a lot more, you know what I mean? Like a leg press has a lot more hip flexion involved. So if you've isolated your quads already and blasted them, it knocks like 2 plates off my pendulum. Like we do extensions first and then go to the pendulum, and I'm like crushed. Like, but it doesn't mean my quads aren't screaming on the pendulum, even though I've got less weight on. And maybe if you're having like a hip issue or knee issue or something, that's what you need to be doing, is trying to find ways to use less weight and still get a huge effort out of it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
We had another training question about the most common mistakes you see when it comes to calf training.
Okay. The calf is, at the end of the day, the calf is extremely simple. It just extends the foot. That's really all you're doing. When you've got your knee straighter, you've got more gastroc stretch, and the gastroc is the main bulk of the calf. You know, the part that you really want to get huge is mostly your gastroc. So you want a majority of your calf work to be with a relatively straight leg, so that you get a better stretch in your gastroc, because we all know stretch loading. There's more and more evidence that supports stretch loading being one of the keys to hypertrophy. So if you want a muscle to grow, you've got to use exercises that stretch load it. So doing your straighter leg movements is going to be the main bulk of your calf training. But also the soleus, we know that the soleus has less potential for hypertrophy because it's a lot more slow twitch fibers. So it tends to respond to higher reps better. And that's your bent leg, seated calf raise stuff. So you don't get any stretch in your gastroc really when you do seated calf raise, but your soleus gets hammered. And if you get your soleus to grow, it's going to push your gastroc out and give you that, you know, soleus is that wider V muscle that comes up from your Achilles tendon and goes like that. So you want to train your calves with both movements, but the main focus for the hypertrophy should be in the straighter leg. You know, if you're going to do any heavy calf raises, that technically should be, from what the science tells us, where we put most of our effort. But I think the full range of motion is key. Stretch loading is key.
Yeah.
And my calves, they responded to more volume. Like, there's not a lot you can do with them. You stretch and point your toe, stretch and point your toe. That's all you do over and over and over. And, you know, my calves were at their biggest. You know, I've got injuries to both my calves now, but my calves were at their biggest when I was doing the most sets for them. That's just kind of the bottom line.
But you got Dusty.
I don't have calves.
No.
Yes, he does. He looks great in shorts. He's got gastroc. They're covered in vein.
I mean, truthfully, I think the biggest thing with calves is people lie to themselves about how much they train them.
Yeah.
That's guilt to me, or, you know, at points in my career too. If you want big calves, my advice is simple: start your workouts with them, so you don't leave without doing them. Like, that is your magic. Most people who complain about, it's not that you don't, I'm not saying that you're gonna have big calves, but they will grow. It is a muscle. If you treat them the same way you would treat your back, if your back wouldn't grow, what would you do? You would hunt down a way. You would try this, you would try that. You would never stop training. Do I train them 3 times a week, twice a week, once a week? Calves, you go, my calves don't grow. I don't know.
Yeah.
They will grow. So I think that is very important. And the other thing that I stumbled upon years ago because of my ankle mobility was I started stretching them under a load every single day. And literally had multiple people tell me at one point, oh, your calves look like they're growing. And I hadn't changed anything other than that. And the first guy said it, I kind of laughed. I was like, oh, he doesn't know me very well. My calves suck. But after like 3 or 4 in a week, I was like, they must be actually changing. So I put up a thing on my Instagram saying what I was doing to give people a shot. And it was really simple. I'd get on like a seated leg press, like one of the fixed machines.
Yeah.
I would start with a single leg, calf, knee straight, stretch for a minute, then bend the knee, stretch for a minute, switch to the other side, same deal. And then I would double the weight and do both feet the same exact way. I did that every single day right when I got to the gym for a long time. And people said they grew. I had a few people tell me theirs did the same. So if you really, truly are hunting for it, there's a great option. It takes, what is that, 6 minutes every day.
I like that.
And then train your calves on top of it.
The old Dante stretch.
Yeah, they're terrible. Loved it.
I was kind of confused by this one, but I'm going to read it to you guys. Solid like always. Spend a couple minutes and go over 1 or 2 comment questions. That would help with engagement and views.
Are we going over this comment question?
Yeah, it's literally, that was a comment on the show. I felt like reading it. I don't know.
I'm all up for just going through YouTube comments too. I like reading them.
I enjoy the comments on that. We should do that. I think that's what he means. Go into the comments on the previous episodes.
We should try that. Okay. We'll do that on the next episode, maybe. We'll try that.
Yeah, that's fun. I like this plan.
Speaking of which, how about this one? This one's actually from Patreon, though. And it's just bodybuilding. How can you tell when you're actually training hard enough? Any specific tips for working on intensity? Also, I was going to ask you too, Dusty, if you had anything you wanted to throw in to think about that for because I know you put up a question box, right? So just planting that seed now.
How do you know when you're training hard enough?
Any questions?
Oh. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, like how do you know that how do you know your intensity is enough? Like,
well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's something that you should be able to judge against your previous efforts. Like, I before I got into bodybuilding, I knew what effort was because, like I'd been in martial arts when I was young. And so like, I knew what it was like to, work really hard, and I knew what it was like to do as many push-ups as I possibly could until I failed. And I knew what it was like to run laps until you quit. Like you're running laps and the other people are quitting and you're like, I'm not going to be a quitter. And you keep running laps and you're running laps and running laps until there's only 3 guys left running laps. And you're like, I don't want to be I want to be the last guy running laps. And I remember doing that in Taekwondo. I remember being in like the kids class and running laps until I was the only guy running laps. And then the teacher was like, you should go in the men's class.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I started coming an hour later and going to the men's class because the teacher recognized that I wasn't just a kid who was there to like have fun. He was like, you're not here for the same reason these other kids are here. You should go in the men's class. So I had that in me from a young age. And so I knew what that was. And so it was easy for me when someone's like, okay, get under the bar and do as many reps as you can. I was like, oh, I know what that means. Right. So I never had to like ask myself, geez, did I train as hard as I could? I knew what effort was. I knew what max effort was. And I already knew what failure was and what quitting was and what knowing that you quit was. And so if you have that stuff in you already, then that's just a question that there's been days where I asked myself like, I could have moved a little faster today, or maybe I got distracted during a workout and maybe my next set would have been better if I wasn't distracted by what was going on. Maybe my fucking music, the battery went dead and I was annoyed and I got distracted by something. But that was like, those are the minor little things that you're just on yourself about because you're trying to be perfect, But I if you're asking yourself, gee, did I train hard today? That's like really weird to me. I don't even know what to say to that. Like, you should know. Like, did you do your sets? Did you put a lot of effort into your sets? Did you get psyched up? Did you get your head clear before you did your big sets? Like Lee Priest used to, we all have different ways of intensity manifests itself differently with everybody. Like Lee Priest used to joke around and crack a joke about some guy and ha ha ha. And then he would just turn and look at a bar with 6 plates on it and get under it and fucking squat it.
Yeah.
Because he was able to flip the switch. So some people can do that. Other people have to stay in the zone because they can't. It's not their nature or their personality to get back in the zone repeatedly. So you have your own way of doing things. I'm not going to say one way is better than the other. I'm not going to say Lee would have been better if he trained like Dorian. That's ridiculous to say. And I'm not going to say that, it's you have your own way of finding what really hard training is for you, but you should know. I think does that make sense?
The other thing you can do, though, if you're unsure, is ask someone with experience. We do that regularly. I mean, Matt Kafora's son sent me a video the other day doing pendulum squats, and form was awesome. Everything was perfect. Cadence, every piece of detail, and he racked it, and he sent it to me, and I said, everything was awesome. You had more. And his response was,
3 more reps. Yeah.
His response was, my dad said the same thing. And he didn't know that. And I think that's the only part that people don't realize is experienced eyes can tell when you have nothing left, or you're right on that cusp. And I don't think everyone is in a position to bury themselves under a pendulum and get out. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea for everybody, but you definitely don't want to be racking it when I go, you absolutely had 3 reps left.
Yeah.
And it could be 5. I would need to see you get the 2 to decide if it was 3 or 4 or 5. But and sometimes you need to review your own stuff. I mean, as intense as I believe I got in my career, and as sure as I was that I was always going to failure, there was a couple of times that I was like, oh, my form is slipping, I'm going to put it down. And I'd watch the video back. I was like, my form is not slipping.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I had more in me. And I liked that, though. I mean, that was a good thing, because it wasn't like I was pussing out. I thought I was being smart. And then you look like, nope, I was fine. But better to put that weight down than get injured. But I think recording recording sets is very valuable. And please don't blow up my inbox. But if you're really serious and you send me one to look at, clip both ends. So I'm literally watching the 20-second set, and I'll watch it for you. But you have to understand that. I mean, Scott, you know that story. I mean, Tommy sent me videos. I couldn't tell you how long, but I thought he was going to want to kill me, because every time he'd send it, I'd go, that was better. You have more. That was better. You have more. And then he sent one, and I went, awesome. And I never saw him send a video or saw him post a video since that it wasn't to that point. Once you get it, once you find it, like Ron said, and he found it, doing Taekwondo as a kid, I highly doubt Ron left many reps on the table his entire career because he found it in something else. But if you haven't, you are going to need some help. But once you do, that's the hope, that you walk away from a workout. Like we said to Cash when we were in Germany, she trained with Sean and Drea. And I said, your training will never be the same because you had today's workout. And if you have in you what I think you have in you, this will come with you every workout moving forward. So look for that,
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
The thing about Tommy too is there's a word in there that is humility. You've got to have humility to be able to recognize, like, okay, somebody's telling me that I did have more, because we all kind of we want to be like, oh yeah, I'm tough, I squat 5 plates, you know what I mean? And and it's like to have the humility to actually be willing to listen to somebody like that and then take their word for it and say, okay, Dusty said I have more reps in me, then I'm going to get more reps. I think that's a big part of what holds people back. You know what I mean? In fact, that could even be the thing that would hold somebody back from sending you the video altogether, And
that's too bad, because if you think about it, it's a compliment to say you had more. Like, you killed it. And I'm telling you that you are so badass that you have more. Like, that's truly how you got to look at it. Like, it's not weakness. It's you don't even know what you're capable of. Imagine if somebody said that to you and you were slaying life, and somebody was like, you're very impressive, but I bet you had no idea what else you have inside of you. I tell my clients it all the time, nothing worse than if they send me their training, their diet, everything, and I go, there's absolutely nothing I can do to make it better. This is as good as you will ever be. Sorry. I mean, that sucks, right? I mean, that's what we spend a late part of our careers doing. Is there anything else I could do better? And that's a humbling point when you go, no, this is it. I can do the same thing longer and see what the result will be. So, yeah, I think it's great news when you have that. And most of us, like you said, if you have humility, you will forever remember the moment you learned how to train. I've told my story. I mean, it's so awesome. You look back and I'm like, I could tell you where the gym that I learned to train at doesn't exist anymore. And I learned on an extension. of all things. I was like, oh, today we learned what training is. Before that, I was working out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the videos and the people that get it. It's really great to see what happens to them years down the road.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I got one buddy, Morgan, that I help, Morgan Sharp.
Yeah.
That pump. You follow that pump?
Of course.
I remember like in 2012 when he was sending me his first videos, he was like 180 pounds or 175 pounds or something. And he was like, had good form and he was, you know, pulling on stuff, but he was stopping the sets at 10, you know? And I was like, you got a couple more, man. And then the next video, still stopping the sets. I'm like, yeah, he had another one in there. And then, you know, eventually the sets got to the point where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're hitting like real failure with good form. Just rinse and repeat.
And what's he look like now?
Yeah, like years later, it's just like ridiculous, you know. He's like just a monster, and just to see that lead to that sort of development over time is just another reinforcement of how important it is to, you know, dig for those reps. You got to dig them out, man. They're not easy, you know. But that stuff sticks with you in life, though. Like just think of all the other stuff you do where you have to call upon that reserve, you know. Like there's almost every day, I think I'm really tired. I'm going to go to bed, but I really should get these 3 more things done.
Right.
And that's just a little bit of that reserve, right? It's not like I have to go deadlift 600 pounds before bed. I just have to like send a few more work related emails or make sure I double check an invoice or make sure I, you know, do something around the house that needs done. Like, I should do like another load of laundry before I go to bed. I know it sounds ridiculous. Like it's not, but that's, a lot of people don't do that. They go to bed and they leave that load of laundry. They leave that invoice. They leave those 3 emails. And now the next day they've got those 3 things to do on top of the other things they already have to do. And by the end of the week, they've got 4 loads of laundry they didn't do and 5 invoices they didn't check and 10 emails they haven't gotten back to. And it's just, and that's just how some people constantly live their lives in this constant, frantic, trying to catch up sort of feeling. And I just feel like just buckling down and going, I'm not done yet. Like I didn't finish yet. I can't call my day yet, you know? Right. And I know that that's just how I kind of see it. And I see that as like a big lesson from the sports and, you know, the training and the gym's about to close. You could leave, but you've got 2 sets left. And you know you've got 2 sets left. And you got a couple minutes left before they kick you out. You can get them done. Like, you know, just that sort of thing. And that's just kind of the main thing that I think bodybuilding has pounded into me personally. And it's something I hope my, you know, people that listen to the show can get out of us is a little bit of that. And it's not just in the gym, like, congratulations, you did your workout, but are you taking these lessons and applying them to the rest of your life? Because I guarantee you that you can be successful in anything if you take these lessons and apply them. Like, you know what I mean? That's just how I see it. So
that's literally what I did with coaching in podcasting. Like literally, like I took what I learned from bodybuilding. Like it taught me so much, you know? I remember the first time Victoria and I went to the Arnold together, and like we were there all day, and you know what the Arnold's like, it's exhausting. I wasn't at a booth, you know? And we got back to the room, and the first thing I did was like get my computer out and open it up and plug it in. I'm like, okay, now I do check-ins. And she was like, wow, you're really dedicated. I was like, well, just don't you don't even think about it though. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, no, you just don't even think about like, maybe I'll do this later. You just do it.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a short in there somewhere, by the way. I'm sure that our short guy will pick something out.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
No, I think it's great. I'm glad you brought that up, Ron, because it's something that as I do more lifestyle clients, it's something we focus on. It's finding out how to pull things from bodybuilding to life. Because I think what's sad in the competitive side is a lot of people pull from life for bodybuilding, and their life falls apart while they get ready for a show. Like it's become you'll see a very common thing where people put up a post and they're like, oh, sorry, I was so impossible to live with, and I promise I'm going to get back to doing these things. And they're proud of it. And I shake my head. I'm like, I never did that.
No.
nothing slips ever. There's no excuse.
Nothing slips.
And I think it's sad that it's become like, it's almost like a badge of honor. Like I was so hardcore that I was mean to my wife. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Your wife didn't choose this. Get your shit together. There's no reason. Like that would be how I would treat it if my child was acting that way based on their sport. I'd be like, well, then don't play. If you can't handle school and you can't handle life and parenting, then don't play. But adults go, it's okay. I just took a quarter of a year off from life to bodybuild. I sucked at work.
It's a selfish sport.
Yeah. They file it into that. And I'm like, oh, it's weird because we just did a 20 some odd week prep and nothing changed. I never had to do anything I didn't have to do before. Nothing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too. If you do fall into that, my fear for you as somebody I'm working with is that you are not going to keep bodybuilding in your life long term. That you can only do that for so long before you start saying like, oh no, bodybuilding was too demanding. My family's too important, and then you put it on a shelf when if you could figure it out, like you guys are both talking about, you can have it both, and that's what I really want people to get long term is so that they can keep it in their lives. It's not taking away. It's like in addition to,
Yeah. And if the bodybuilding is such a taxation on you mentally, like you're so blown up by this process that you're unable to function in the rest of your life, then it's not like I always said, bodybuilding should add to your life. it shouldn't take away from it. It shouldn't be so expensive in that way, and I always I took a lot of pride in that. I'll say, hey, my first couple shows, I obviously was overwhelmed. But back in the 90s, we didn't have as much information. It was a different time. I came up in a different time. It was very overwhelming. But I always took a lot of pride where I'd be halfway into my prep and someone would be like, are you dieting? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't know. You look like you're getting leaner. I'd be like, yeah, I've been dieting for a while. I always liked it if people that I worked with didn't know. Or you know what I mean? People around me didn't
you weren't changing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Until they visually notice, oh, are you losing weight? Your face is down. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been dieting for 10 weeks. I'd be like, oh shit, really? I like that. I was kind of something I tried to be. I
want to add something into that though too. I will say if you are listening and you are new and this has been say your first diet, that it is a learning process. And I feel like my first prep was just a mess compared to my last one. I got through it. It was good, but then I got better at it and I got better at it and I improved. And then I did learn how to, let it run in the background, autopilot while I'm doing everything I normally do. But it was a process for me at least, it was a process in figuring that out. So if you're early, if you're new and you aren't quite there yet, if you plant that seed now, what we're talking about, you make that your goal, I feel like then you can work toward that. You could catch yourself and be like, oh yeah. One of the things I always want to try to, and I didn't used to do this because one of the things that's let me down has been, I find out afterward that this was really tough on somebody's family. I'm like, I had no idea because they don't tell me that, And they're like, yeah, I don't know if I'll be competing again because this was really tough on her. It's there's a line because I'm not a therapist, I'm not a relationship counselor, so you can't really get into all of that with them. But I want to.
Are good.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to make sure that are you taking care of all that stuff still? And I don't know. It's something you can at least once you're aware of it, you can at least work toward it, and I think that's how you improve.
Well, systems are magic, right? In life and business. I know. I don't even have to ask Ron. Ron has systems for his day that he executes every day because there's too much shit to not operate on systems. And the same applies to bodybuilding. When I hear people say, oh, I need to take these last 6 weeks off to prep, I need the time. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're if you were to really break down and say, how long does it take to cook chicken and rice? How long does it take to eat 6 times a day? It's not that much time. It's really not. So when you step back, and I know when I bought my businesses and did different things, like I was very, very busy, and I had to literally take a piece of paper, and I woke up at 4 a.m. and I wrote down what I did between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. all the way through the day. Then I looked and eliminated things that didn't need to be done that were taking up time, and I could find time every day. And my entire professional life, anytime I feel like I don't have enough time, here we go again. Let's do it tomorrow, every hour. And you go, oh, there's 30 minutes. There's 30 minutes. Regularly, we'll find an hour and a half.
Wow.
That you're like, oh. And everyone says, that's why I hate when someone says they're so busy, because I'm like, I'm way less busy than I used to be. And I had plenty of time then. It's like, no, you have to be a machine. I also don't believe in snooze, ever. Even now. If I set an alarm, it goes off, you get up. You start. You don't slowly start. How long does it take to put your shoes on? Let's go. Like, move, because that also will create free time. And that's very valuable if you have an hour and a half of the day that's set aside. This isn't like about being hardcore. It's about handling your stuff so you can create time where you say, now I'm going to watch 2 episodes of a show because I earned it. Nothing's being sacrificed. I want to watch Lost.
Such a good show, too. You should watch Lost. That's the take-home point, guys.
Yeah, and that's it. Let's go. Show is over.
All right.
Okay.
Next.
Did you have something, Dusty? I know I had one more that I had to ask for.
Hit yours, and then I just have the one thing I told you guys about before the show that I think we should discuss. I'll do it real quick.
Yeah.
The discussion we had about going to the movies and the fact that you need to plan out your restroom breaks, and because the movie doesn't stop. Well, Steve shot me a DM and let me know about an app called RunPee. RUNPEE. It's an app that will tell you the best times for your breaks during movies. So you watch that, you check the app before you head into the movie. Keep an eye. You got to pee. You just wait for that moment. Go. You're going to be fine. Because every movie does have a 5-minute block in there that you can miss.
It's almost like you put it in on purpose.
Yeah. It's like they knew that this app was going to be made. I had no idea about it, and I love it because I drink way too much every single day, and there is no option of like holding it. That's not happening. I'm like, I'm going to go. I'm the guy that like runs full speed, which is like 3.2 miles an hour. Oh, wait, that's called walking. Anyway. So yeah, I wanted to point that out so everyone knew, and you can thank Steve for that the next time you go to a movie.
That's funny. RunPee.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out.
I don't go to the movies enough. We just hit pause on Netflix or Hulu or whatever we're watching.
Yeah.
But after we talked about how much I enjoy going to a good movie.
Yeah.
You want to go again?
I'm sort of thinking of going and seeing this new Mad Max.
Oh,
that looks good.
Because I liked Fury Road. Fury Road was great. And, just so visual and such a crazy, just the way the world looks in those movies, eh?
Yeah.
And I thought that might be a really good theater movie. Plus the ratings are off the chart. It's got like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. So I might go see what's it called? Furiosa? Yeah, I might go see Furiosa in the theater here. Might be
you check the app first. Check the app first.
Check the RunPee. Yeah RunPee.
All right, what do you got, Scott, for the last thing?
Got one more, and it's from my very favorite listener. Her name is Tori Felker. She has a question for us. She says, who was the most fashionable bodybuilder? And she was like, Ron's going to have an answer for this. I know he is.
Of course he is.
Well, I always thought that Jay and Dexter were always decked out in like brand new Jordan and Nike stuff all the time. Jay always had like real white sneakers on, like looked like he had a new pair of sneakers on every time. And they both did the visors. Do you remember the visors?
Oh yeah. We had one on one of our reactions.
Days? Yeah. Remember the visor days? They both wore visors, and I was just thought the visors were just a step I couldn't do. I couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't do the visor.
I wasn't a visor guy. No, I don't know what it was about me that just wasn't visor, but I just knew that was never in my future.
Yeah,
and they both did the visors, and they both had always had brand new Nike dry fit clothes on back in the day. Do you remember all that stuff? Yeah.
I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Oh,
Okay.
And let me tell you why. Because bodybuilding fashion is about bodybuilding, which makes Sean Ray wearing onesies makes him a grand champion. And Nasser, I mean, come on, let's watch Nasser on the way and see work boots with cutoff jorts.
yeah.
I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah,
this is bodybuilding fashion.
The peak.
I didn't say it was good
With
fashion.
the boat neck.
With the boat neck,
Yep.
exactly. No one said this was good fashion. We just said it was fashion. And let's be honest, those two, I mean, what do you say when you go to the mirror? Like, do I want to wear the purple and pink stripe verticals or what? What am I feeling today before I head in for this 700-pound deadlift?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what makes the man select the Tims with the cutoff jorts. Like, are those your wives? Are those yours? I don't know what's going on here. But
So I will say that somewhere out there's a photo of me with Doc Marten boots, cut off jean shorts,
Holy crap.
with my quad showing, like cut off halfway down the thigh with the quads out. With a boat neck with a stringer tank underneath,
of course.
and possibly wearing a bandana.
Oh, it doesn't get any better than
yes.
I know, and a fanny pack. So
I think it's getting better.
I know that because I can see the photo in my head, but I don't know if I have it.
Oh, man.
I know that I've seen that photo, but I don't know if I have it, and I know it's out there somewhere.
Oh, man.
And if I
Find
can ever
it.
find that,
Yeah. We need it. We need it for the cover of the show one day. Like, we really do.
That for my life.
Yeah. I'm going to put that one up on in my gym, actually, if you haven't.
yeah.
As I heard that explanation, I realized that we were both wrong in the most fashionable look of all time.
That would have
This
been
was
that would
Ron
have been,
Partlow. Yeah.
that would have been just the exact same era. That would have been like late '90s, right? Like that would have been when Nasser was at his peak. So that would have been right in there.
I love that you went you went full douche kit. Like every piece of the douche kit you had.
Yeah.
And the douche kit has changed over time. I was explaining this to Nikki today. Because now like the douche kit is the Wolfpack bag and the dark sport and all these things, and we all hate on it, and it just makes me laugh because I'm like, we were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Stop talking trash. Tell those kids I understand. At least you ain't in baggies. Like my time was worse than yours. You guys are cooler than us. Just admit it.
Yeah.
So-
I trained in Doc Marten boots for a long time. Like I had a pair
See?
of Doc Marten boots that we trained in. I trained in them all the time. Tuck my sweats into them.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Well, you'd tuck
With
your
the
sweats
big
into your socks.
Yeah, the
You
big
tuck
socks,
your
the
sweats
poop
into your
socks.
socks, but then you had Doc Martens, and they were like floppy at the top.
Don't tie them.
You
Yeah.
know? You got them
don't
tied
tie 'em.
halfway up. You got them tied
Yeah, then
halfway
they were
up,
like
and then the
floppy,
top is like
yeah.
flopping. Yeah, amazing.
So I had a client come over train yesterday, younger guy, 20s, and he was wearing, and I didn't comment on it, but he was wearing like Zumbas.
Nice.
Why
Is
did
that
you
back?
comment?
Is that, I didn't think to. Like he came over, I was like, hey, what's up? We start talking shop immediately.
Were they brand new? Or were
they
like
they were
vintage?
like new. They were like Zumbas, and they were new. So I'm asking you guys, because you guys go to the actual gym a lot more than me. Is that a thing again?
I haven't seen it, but I got to tell you, he came in and let you know he's a better bodybuilder than you thought.
Yeah, that's a point right there.
No matter how good you know he is, he's better than you thought. Right there.
Shout out to Quinn. Yes,
Quinn,
Zambas-
get yourself
Zambas
get
are
yourself
on Amazon.
Dude, Quinn, get yourself a fanny pack. It's time, buddy. Don't be afraid. Tommy can tell you where to get one. He still has one.
he's got the fanny pack. I was shopping
yeah.
for a good fanny pack, but I want it to carry it concealed.
Yes.
That's a different, similar but different.
So yeah, no, but anyway, I love the fashion thing, and for all you kids that all us old people are hating on you, just go ahead and do a little search back, and then show them the pictures of themselves and tell them to shut up.
Yeah,
You're winning. You're winning in life. We sucked. I mean, listen to Ron's descriptions. I mean, at one point in our life, we went to high school wearing, overalls with one of them not connected.
Oh, I remember that look.
Peter.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that?
Friend that used to do that. We'd go out for dinner and he'd have the overalls on.
Did he
With
do
one
the
of them
one
flopped down?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. So let's not talk any trash. Our generation needs to keep it quiet.
Oh, I forgot about the overalls.
It's bringing back a lot of memories.
I have pictures of them. I have pictures. I had Tommy Hilfiger one, so they were like extra douche.
So before that, we had the Z Cavaricis.
Oh, those are nice.
5,000 pleats, across the front, and the tag right on the zipper.
Yes,
amazing.
Amazing. So yeah. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. We had the big Sean John jeans.
Oh yeah,
rapper jeans.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Jankos where you couldn't even see your shoes?
Yeah.
Just gone. No shoe. This guy has no feet.
Yeah, amazing. And we'd wear them with boots and just have the big bottoms just almost covering your boots. And then you'd have a tight Lycra t-shirt on.
Yeah, painted on.
It was like
painted
super
on.
baggy pants with a tight Lycra t-shirt, like bulging your bicep veins. And you'd all line up to get into the club.
What a look.
Oh, we looked so good in our moments.
Terrible. Okay.
Amazing any of us ever got laid. Anyways.
Yeah, I gotta find some of those pics. I'm gonna find some old pics. I got some 90s pics somewhere. I'm super motivated now. I gotta dig through this trunk.
We need it. The show needs it. The world needs it.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We do.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that's it for our show today. Thanks to the last 5 minute crew for sticking around. Scott might have some little extras tagged on the end here for the last 5 minute crew.
Don't even tell him. Don't even tell him. It's just going to happen.
Okay, just going to disappoint them if you forget to do it now.
Well, I'm not going to put a timestamp either. So there's that. So if you're already listening, you're part of the last 5 minute crew. There's that. But one time I said something about the last 5 minute crew and people actually commented and they're like, it's not special if you put a timestamp. So I get it. It's kind of like the bonus track. It's like after 5 minutes after the tape is over and then the music starts playing again. It's like, Yeah,
you earned that.
Okay. Okay, remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Yes, remember, IamMutant.com, Born Hardcore, IamMutant.com, get your ISO surge, get your all in. Everyone should get on the gear. Dusty 20, Big Ron 20, get your 20% off. Thanks to everybody, and remember, it's just bodybuilding.
I was trying to find the name, and I'm listening. Yesterday we were in the gym training, and Nikki and I keep one AirPod in so we can communicate.
Yeah.
And I looked at her, and no words were said, and she just grabbed the AirPods and handed me my other one and put her other one in. And I was like, all right, this is how it's going to be for a little while.
Yep.
So you don't have to listen to nonsense?
Yeah, they're all really special. You can tell. Bro, but what did the judge say you needed to bring up? And I wanted so bad to go, everything.
Bring it all up.
You.
All
Nothing on you is big enough.
Terrible.
Yeah, so it's just
terrible. You're like 3 years away from being on stage.
You're 3 years away from being less terrible. But anyways, but the equipment's nice, so it's good to have some good equipment to use again.
Nice.
So I do like that little single arm pull down I did today. That was a nice little touch.
Let's see if I can pull that up. I didn't see this. Get my practice going for screen sharing.
It's good. A lot of good shit in the gym.
There's Dusty Hanshaw now.
There he is in all of his oldness.
Let's see. There we go. Give this a like while I'm here.
Thanks,
I like that.
It.
You got it, man. I like that. I like that Cyback Smith. That's my favorite Smith machine right there.
Oh, of all time. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah, I like the True Squat also. I don't know if I should use it much longer, Ron. It looks a little wobbly when I use it. But,
right.
Skip was like, I don't know if I trust that front weld as much as you do. Then I watched the video. I'm like, I don't know if I trust the front weld as much as I do either.
Yeah. I don't know how old that True Squat is either. If you're using a True Squat, I don't know how old it is.
Yeah, well, it holds 5 plates, so I put 5 plates on it. I didn't design it. Shit. Seems sensible.
I think I put 2 plates on it when I used it at quads.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, to me, it's just easier to remember if you just max everything.
If you just fill it.
You don't have to write it down? Yeah, all of them.
Oh, so I've got something for the show now that I'm done wasting everyone's time for a minute. that we must discuss. Tell me I screenshot it. Yes, I did.
Oh, this row, by the way, I was getting to it.
Yes,
the Nautilus. The
Nautilus. That's nice. My bad shoulder doesn't mind that one at all.
I like the looks of that. That's cool.
It's solid. That whole line, that whole Nautilus Explode line is good.
Yeah. So that's
and
a nice
lots
touch.
of plates.
Yeah, I can see that.
It.
It's got like 5 plates. It's got 5 plates on there plus room.
Yeah. I got lots of room. I could fit 2 more on there.
One arm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Plus, it's got storage pegs on it, so it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Okay. I like that. This Preacher too, but it's got to be done single arm because I'm too wide for it. I can't fit in there. Yeah. I don't think if you lost 30 pounds, Ron, you could fit in that.
Is that a Paramount?
Your clavicles are too wide for that.
Is that a Paramount brand? What brand is that?
That is. Let me look here because I got a little.
Or Max Cam, or I'm just looking at that interesting cam on it. That looks.
No, that's a Flex Fitness.
It's an old Flex. Old Flex. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Okay.
So, anywho, what do you think about that clip I sent you guys from the Kelsey podcast with Ron's swear jar?
Oh yeah.
Maybe I didn't see that one yet.
Oh, yeah. It's classic.
The 2 Kelsey brothers.
Yeah, they suggested possibly doing a swear jar on their show, and a lady kept track from that show on and sent them a message, and they were like, "What's this?"
29 on Club 92. Are y'all still interested in a swear jar? Been counting swears since October 11. Even made a homemade swear jar plus a spreadsheet. Current count, Jason at 366.
Damn, you cussed 366 times?
F is at 2,150.
Wow. There's Ron.
I'd be curious to know what words are being included in these swears.
2,000 is just a random number. There's no way.
Thank you so much, Elaine. This is incredible. I'm glad somebody was keeping count. I guess you just care more about charity than I do, Trev. The swear jar.
That's amazing.
2,000. There's no way.
New Ron does really good. Damn is a swear word. I mean,
New Ron is pretty good. New Ron doesn't swear very much.
Yeah, I like
old Ron. Or if Ron hangs out at the gym too much, or goes on a trip and hangs out with too many real people, then he comes back and it's effing
I'm
this
okay when I'm in my bubble at home and just with you guys.
Gets out a little bit. It gets a little out of control.
Yes. Okay. Well, he can put the good stuff into the episode that we just missed.
Yeah. There we go.
More editing for Scott. Scott doesn't mind lots of editing.
This is just all one bonus segment. It'll be a bonus segment.
Yeah, we'll do it in post.
Yeah, I'll post. Or we'll just cop it. Listen, it's all going on the end of the show for the last 5-minute crew. How about that?
Tag it
on. Just drop it.
Yeah. Just put a slider screen just saying bonus and then just have it just there.